are there any topics or any conversations that you would have loved to have with a guest or cover for your listeners that you haven't had the opportunity to yet?
Oh, oh, that's a good question. Um, no, I don't know. Oh, that is such a good question. Um, you know what? I do wish that it's quite difficult because you want people to open up, right?
Hmm.
And we when I'm on the podcast, we talk about challenges and things like that. But I would one area that I think that I would really like to talk about more on is just how you are able to stay confident in yourself, like that, that imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
That's one area that I would really like to. I haven't really explored as much. And I think it's important because when you're talking about um, creating inclusive environments and also kind of especially gender parity, one of the reasons why you find or we've seen and it's statistically proven why women don't are not where they should be in the leaderboard is because they wait until the very point where they're pretty much already doing the job to
Hmm.
even apply,
Yeah.
right? And they're going above and beyond before they even decide to put themselves forward. Whereas their male counterparts, they might be doing maybe one or two of those things that make that job description, but they'll still go for it anyway. They'll still go for that job anyway.
Hmm.
And I find me as personally, I get that imposter syndrome quite often. So yeah, that's an area that I probably would really like to explore a little bit more.
I love that. I think I know that the study you're talking about. I think it was like women wait till they meet. It was like 95 or 98% of the criteria on a job description, and men if they meet like one or two things, like maybe 5% of what they're. I could do this. I could do this. Come on, man. But I think it's
No, that sounds
yeah,
sad. That's the sad part. Like it's the tragedy.
yeah, and I think that's kind of something interesting, and I think imposter syndrome. It's funny you say this because someone came to mind, and it's Deion Sanders. I don't know if you're keeping track of American college football. Probably not. But
That
college football.
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
right,
know that well, but that name
Deion
sounds.
Sanders, American football player, one of the best DBs ever historically, was known for kind of talking his smack. I think it's confidence to me. He's just a very confident black man who's, like, yeah, I'm the best corner in the league. What do you mean? Like, he's not better than me. So he's like, that was the kind of guy he was. Well, he got into coaching. He coached at historically. Well, he coached before this, but I'm going to skip some of his early career. He's coaching his kids as they grew up. Got a university job at a historical black college, and now most recently got a job at CU Boulder as their head coach, and has been playing a lot of games. And I think what I saw before the season, because I'm a big sports guy, sorry for the huge analogy here, but was a lot of people looking at him like, man, they're gonna win one game because that college football team, had won one game last year. So they were like, man, he's not gonna win any football games. He's bringing people in. Everyone was questioning everything he did. He basically, got rid of a bunch of players, brought a bunch of new college players in. Everyone's like, who does that? I can't believe he's doing this. Blah, 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 blah. He's not very good. The whole time, you got to give this guy credit. The whole time he has been, we're a great football team. We will win games. We expect to be in the national championship race. They opened the game against TCU, who was one of the top 4 teams last year, and beat them. Then they went 3-0. They just lost 2 games to USC and Oregon. But it was a great game. And I think even when he loses, he has confidence of, no, we're supposed to be in this game. No, I didn't expect to lose. I expect to win. We didn't play up to our standards. And you can see it in the kids that he coaches and all that kind of stuff. And for me as a black man looking, I'm like, yeah, that's confidence. Because he never disparages anybody. He never says, no, we should have beat him because that coach is trash and those kids aren't very. He always says, no, that's the standard I hold for myself. Of course I deserve to be here. My expectation is that when I show up, I'm going to win. And I think for me, just because we're talking about this concept, right, of imposter syndrome, I feel imposter syndrome all the time. I remember I got into Techstars, which was like a big startup thing, and I was like, I'm the youngest kid in this room. Like, I'm not supposed to be. I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm not supposed to be in this room. I'm too young. I got no experience. But like, I think after seeing that, now that I'm a little bit older and I've seen that, I'm like, man, I wish I would have seen Deion Sanders early, because it would have given me the confidence to be like, look, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody in this room, but I am saying I'm confident in who I am and what I know I can do. And I know that I can do what I believe to be a good job, and that's enough. And so to me, I think seeing Deion Sanders has been great for me this last year. I'll be like, man, my confidence is through the roof. This guy has helped me out so much. But I think it's such a great story that we all struggle. We can all take something away from Deion Sanders. That's what I'm trying to do. Everyone take something away from Deion Sanders. Go buy some gear, support my guy up here, CU Boulder. Help him out. Prime time. You know what it is. But
I
yeah.
mean, that story hasn't convinced me to watch football.
Dang
However,
it.
it has convinced me to follow him specifically.
Yeah. You know, I
um,
like football like that guy. I'm telling you, he is a showman. He is an absolute showman. I absolutely love how he responds, because they just, they're supposed to lose by, I don't know, a bunch of points this last week in the USC. They lose by 1 touchdown. And he comes back after the show, and all the reporters, because he's so confident the whole time. I think everyone is ready for, like, oh, I'm going to get you now. I'm going to break you down, because I think that's the society we live in. They want to break you down. If you act confident, you come out and say that you think you're this, and you stumble or step, they're going to try to come after you. Just calmly said, no, I'm really, really proud of our boys. Of course, this isn't what the outcome I wanted, but we're going to keep working. And one of the quotes he had is, "You better get me now." He's like, "I'm gonna be better next year, so you better get me now." And like, I was like, I love that, like that type of just kind of energy and self belief. Like, I absolutely loved it. I think it's given me a lot of, and hopefully, I'm gonna keep emailing you about him. So hopefully, I can get you to watch some college football.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely. I think, I mean, it's the same for me. It was like with Coco Gauff.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't know if I pronounced her surname correctly from my accent. But when she won the tennis,
yeah,
like when she was like, "Thank you to all those people who didn't believe in me," like
yeah.
ignited my fire. Like I was just like, "Oh yes,
Yes,
yes."
yes,
So I
yes.
feel like it's just one of those situations, one of those moments that you're just like, yeah, like actually, you know what? Keep that hate coming, because it's only gonna just put that flame up me, and it's just only gonna keep me going even more. So yeah, I think it just shows like how much representation matters.
Mm-hmm.
Having those people in the world reaching the standards that they've reached, and then just making that commentary just is just so impactful.
I think this is brilliant, and I want to keep talking about this, but we're getting close to time here, so I have to ask you our last question, which
Oh yeah.
is, what is the missing piece? We know there's not one missing piece when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion, and there's multiple things that need to be moved forward. But if you had to pick one thing, what would that be?
Oh, one thing. I think I would have to say, I want to say inclusion.
Okay.
And I know, like, people would be like, inclusion, like, that's not missing, like, that's an acronym, DEI. But, but I think that actually, when you think about it, we focus quite a bit on the diversity aspect,
Hmm.
but and so it gets overshadowed. And I think we're missing the inclusion really needs to be at the forefront, because once you make an environment somewhere that everyone feels happy to be in, then you already have the diversity. You've already done it, right?
Hmm.
You don't need to try and get all these different people, because then when you do, it's like, well, how do they feel when they're actually in the door?
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's one thing that I feel like what we're missing, is that understanding that we need to ensure that we prioritize inclusion, and that we are creating these environments that people feel like that they truly can bring their full selves to work, and that they feel like they can be heard, and that they feel safe to be able to air any grievances that they may well have, or any bad experiences that they are experiencing. They're
Yeah.
open to be able to share that.
Well, that is fantastic. Such a great thing for us to end on. Where can people find you or check out your podcast?
Oh yeah. So it's all inclusive with Natasha Rainey. Is the podcast. You can find it on all the usual podcast platforms: Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts. Best way to reach me is through LinkedIn. So Natasha Rainey, just type me in. I don't think there's any others, but yeah, I should come up. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I love to speak with people, connect with new people. So yeah.
Well, Natasha, thank you so much for being on. This has been one of my favorite conversations of the season so far. So I'm super, super excited for everyone to be able to listen to that. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.